So starting from now, let me take a little bit time. It's not really a formal lecture, but what we expect from you will be communicated. So before that, just earlier, during Ministry of Infrastructure, at the very bottom, we explained what we expect from you. I explained on the slide earlier. So your ideas is something that can solve any issues relating to the automotive administration. This is what we expect. So I explained the MITI. However, you shouldn't be limited to that kind of expectations alone. So they are working on their initiatives. So we expect something from the new auto world. And if you can propose something that can solve the current issues, that would be great. That is some expectation that we have. So let me take some time to give you some message. So I prepared this presentation for this session today. This is criteria. So this time we have 23 teams passed further screening. And then taking this opportunity, let me deliver this message. For 23 teams were passed. So let me explain the background why they passed the first screening. The first one is originality. You can see this slide. So you understand without originality you cannot be passing this. And also, like the feasibility or the practicality is something that we are looking at. And then, together with the concept, like practicality, feasibility are valued. If you want to fly the sky, that shouldn't be the case. Flying vehicle can lead to a direction that you want to achieve. If that's the case, it is convincing. So there's no team propose any flying vehicle or something, but that's how we evaluated 23 teams. And number two is the design. For design perspective, as you can see here, era. Design shall be reflecting the era and society. Era is not something that is possessed by the Japanese people, but if you go to the Europe, to Asia, they actually use a lot of term as era. Actually, era explains the era. So era, society should be reflecting in the design. So design is not only the design itself. So how much did I go of the design? I did explain. The styling, beautiful shape, beautiful lines. Not only that, design shouldn't be ending up to that kind of the topics. Let's consider many aspects. Let's consider future society. That's why I put era in the design definition. Thirdly is a presentation. When it comes to the presentation, so to express yourself and what you are going to achieve should be communicated to the listeners. This is a presentation. But as the designers, if you create a good design, that shouldn't be the end. It will be the artists. Artists can be, that will be the end. Of the designers, you should deliver what you think and make it put into practice so that you want to express something in the society. So you want to convince for the other party, for those who will be funding you. You want to convince those people. That's why conviction is needed. So 1, 2, 3 are important in that sense. So here, the movies are being shot here. So let me state here. For some people might have thought why my idea was not succeeded. So I'm not not really answering to that questions. The reason why those ideas were failed, it means based upon these three criteria, they are not really reaching this criteria. For those who passed screening, they satisfied this criteria to some extent. For those who satisfied this criteria to some extent, passed the first screening. And then let me talk about the schedule. So today we're here, end of June was the first schedule. So today is the 1st of July. So this is the workshop. After this, in August, we have the deadline in August. So in August, the second screening will be held. And then after screening, for the second time, we are going to have the second workshop. The 1st of September, results of the screening of the second round will be announced. So you provide your idea during the month of August. So taking the value from this workshop today, so that I really want you to see your faces in workshop 2 as well. And then let me really focus on what I really want to deliver. Regarding ideas, you propose these ideas, something like this. For instance, this is the idea that this is on the raw stone. So how you want to grow this into? So please have your own intention, passion to grow this. So how to grow this? This is only my image, but let me share what I think. This is how. From the raw stone, gradually you polish, improve. So at the end, you are going to have this so sleek oval, this straight line design procedure is not something that I think right now. So this era had finished. This is how designers worked in the past, but this era was finished because the raw stone will be polished into brilliant one. That is only part of designer's tasks. So from now on, in the future, what I feel is that we have the raw stone. So let's consider in various ways, like technology is one of the topics. As Malbeni person told us, it's technology in society, security, and people need to be taken into consideration. Of course, sustainability should be part of the considerations, environment as well. Everything should be taken into consideration into design to take for the next step. So listen to your presentations. Luckily, I heard a lot of ideas of this, but unfortunate was you weren't well delivering this. However, I felt it from your presentation. So then, to create something isn't clear enough that you want to create something from now on. In the earlier meeting, like this is what we want to deliver. Your ideas, something new directions will be delivered, including innovations and so on. You consider they are important, create new era in the future. That's why we have era here. Era is new era. If you pick up the dictionary, you see era as new era. To create a new era, this is something designers should be doing in the future.
So, in which field are you going to be the designer, and in which field are you going to be engaged? That's up to you. But your design work has to take consideration of these wider scope aspects to create a new era in future toward 2020 and 2030. In 2030 and 2020, with your own power, you are going to create a new era. That's really your ownership. It is really unfortunate that we had Apple smartphone launched. What we were doing in Japan was to have a continuous improvement on the Keitai or feature phone. And also in the feature phone, maybe we improve designs every 3 months. That's what we were doing. But it is nothing in comparison to Apple or iPhone design. Because when the iPhone came to Japan, it really spread all over in Japan, all of a sudden. But at that time, these makers of feature phones, what they said was, they had these ideas already, and they had already the technologies to realize iPhone like that. Then why didn't you make it? I just wanted to shout. Samsung and Apple are the monopoly, and they are the king in this world now. So even though you had a concept, but if you don't put together into a real feasible concept to link to the next generation, there were so few people in Japan like that. The designers, you have to trigger in this direction. That's your mission as a designer. Dyson as well. Dyson's fan has a very porous fan. It's a new innovative fan. I was really surprised to see Dyson's electrical fan. But what Dyson says is that Dyson does not have a designer. They don't have a product designer. They don't need a product designer. They need is an engineer who understands the design. That's what they want. The person who knows well about engineering with a designer mindset is needed. So in their organization, they don't have a product designer or engineer. This era is over in terms of Dyson Corporation. So when I think about it, the designers' roles and responsibilities is immense and expanding. Please take your ownership to take initiative. In today's presentation, contents as well, and also 23 clear the first round of screening. You are in this direction because you have cleared the first screening, and your proposal is really powerful and inspiring to me. So that's what I think about your proposals. So I really want you to have a big leap. I expect you a lot, and we have a big expectation in your possibility. In August, in August 14th, you have to enhance your level and enhance your ideas and concept. So 14th of August is a deadline for the work for the second screening. So do your hard work so that we can see inspiring ideas then. Thank you very much. So shall we start? So I'm going to talk about the packaging layout. My voice maybe induce you to sleep, but please do not sleep. Keep yourself awake. I would like to touch upon the package layout, especially focused on the human. So you're going to design a car, but you have to really think about interaction with a human that you shouldn't avoid. So 3 presentations avoided human contact. However, in future, sometimes down the road, because you are going to design a car in which human drives, maybe you have to really take into consideration the human. What changes with EV and what is not going to EV, including the engine as well? You are going to learn and accumulate your knowledge about the difference between the combustion engine and EV. What determines vehicle form? There are so many variety of forms of the car, low vehicle and wide vehicle and very longitudinal vehicle. What determines the shape of the car? First of all, this is a current car, so I want to talk about based on the current car. So the size is determined by the powertrain or engine. Whether it's installed in the front or rear in the vehicle or in the center of the body, that changes the shape of the form of the car. So next item is drivetrain. If you have an engine in the front, and also this is all-wheel drive or maybe front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, that changes and determines the shape of the car. Maybe you are a vehicle lover, so FA, FR, midship, these are not in my scope of the discussion today. In the end, human factor. Human is the focus in my topic today. So human body or human, when you make a layout, there are 3 important points about human body, which are, one is the heel point, or your heel point is very important, meaning AHP, and hip point, your hip point, and also these are the 2 factors most important out of the 3, because these 2, when you decide these 2 points, the last point, eye point, will be decided. Eye point is the eye level. Your eye field level is determined by the hip point and heel point in relation to these points. So how do we determine the style incorporating the human body aspect? As you can see the arrow, this is the hip to heel, the height between the heel and hip. Therefore, when you think about the layout, don't only focus on the hip point or not focus on eye point. Only, you have to have the relative relationship between hip point and heel point to have the right shape of the car. For instance, let's take a look at the sports car. This is a sports car layout. The heel point and hip point, because they are important, please focus on that. They are on the same level. If you sit in this sports car, the height of the heel point and hip point are the same. Have you ever ridden a sports car? So what is your impression? Because it was unreal from the daily life, because sports car was really unique. So if you have to accelerate, the seat has to be lower to accelerate the car efficiently. In terms of the visual, this is how it looks like.
So low overall height is a characteristic of sports car. And what about the interior? It looks like this. What I want you to pay attention to is the steering wheel. So many of your EVs do not have steering wheels, but when you sit in a sports car, the steering wheel is right in front of you. So the angle of the steering wheel usually is like a perpendicular, upright. So a Porsche, the steering wheel is very upright. What I would like to show you next is a sedan. Compared to a sport car, it has a higher overall height. Compared to the sport car that you saw previously, so there is a larger difference between heel point and hip point. And also, accordingly, the eye height is higher than the sports car, resulting in a higher overall height So it's more comfortable compared to the sports car. And what I would like you to pay attention to in your design is the position, human's position inside the vehicle. So I think you can imagine like a first class seat and an economy class seat in an airplane. Because economy class, like many seats should be housed in a restricted space. And in reference to the hip point and heel point, the hip point is higher. So, but you feel a bit tight. And your body position is not suited to sitting for many hours. So it's not really good for long hour flights. But sedan, you can see that there is big room for leg room. So it is like a business class or first class seat on an airplane. You can keep feeling relaxed. But the space occupied by a person is longer, like from front to back. And when it comes to real cars, it's like these cars. Then the interior photos. Compared to the sports cars, the steering wheel is slanted because the height of the eye height is slightly higher compared to the sports car. Next is compact. This is more. In this car, the posture is like economy seat in an airplane. So the car is smaller. And it depends on the concept, but a person who sits in the car, so if you want to put 4 people inside this smaller car, or if you want to put a lot of luggage in a car, then the space for people need to be smaller if you want to put more luggage. So the posture of the person sitting in a car is close to the posture of a person sitting on a chair. And the exterior images are like this. So overall height is bigger compared to sedan or sports car, and interior is like that. Fiat 500 looks a bit wrong. So the concept-wise it's low, but if you look at other cars, the steering wheel is more slanted, like even more slanted than sedan. And this next is SUV. The position of the person's body is close to the compact car. And the point you want to pay attention to is sometimes I see students' idea, it's a SUV but a sport car. Some students try to realize things like that. So that means body is very thin, but they say that it's SUV. But as you can imagine, the one you saw earlier, like the sports car styling, you see like the leg was very much stretched. And the SUV, the lowest like a floor height is very high. So if you imagine, it's not really natural. It's not natural to have a sport car and SUV type of car. And it is important that you try to imagine how you would get in the car when you design. The last one I would like to share with you is a minivan. In terms of space efficiency, I think this is the ultimate form in terms of space efficiency. So minivan, I think the overall length is a little less than 5 meters, but we try to align 3 seats inside of the car to put, say, 7 people inside. So naturally, the position for persons, like the sitting position is closer to the position where you sit in a chair. So exterior is like this, and interior, the steering wheel is more kind of slanted. And the ultimate form of this steering wheel is a truck. So kind of the steering wheel of a truck is almost horizontal. It's not upright, it's almost horizontal, flat. So you can compare 3 different types of cars. very different body positions. So EV, there are many differences between petrol car and EV. So motor versus engine. So the place which was occupied by an engine in a conventional petrol car. Excuse me, please wait a moment. So, looking at this photo, the engine part, the power part, will be different. And how you have more freedom to use this space. And also the drivetrain. Motor can be incorporated in each of the wheels, like tires wheels. So no need for the kind of axle. But still, people need to be inside the car. So it is the same whether the power is from engine or battery. So you need to think what's the optimum kind of position of a person or people inside the car, and then start from that point. You think about the height or length. If you don't start with the position of the people inside the vehicle, you cannot have a kind of realistic a sizing or packaging of the car. So okay. It's 10 minutes, so that is all from me about the layout. Okay, let's begin. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, you can. Yeah, you will be going back to your original seats or tables. And as this is a workshop, so, for example, if you want to learn about making sketches, because I'm here and Ken-san is here, so if you want to see, I can show you how to make sketches. Yeah. They wanted to see how we do that. So, okay, on that display, we have this blue display. So I will project the image. Okay, so the car designers put emphasis on side view. So we put emphasis on side view. So maybe we can do something related to the point. Okay, can I do it first? Where is the pen? For example. This is a vehicle. In my case, how I do this, don't look at me, look at the display, okay? So in the document camera, you don't have to look at me. So, for example, I don't draw a person, but when I make a sketch of a side view, I begin with tires. And these days, overhang, this is wheelbase. So this distance is called wheelbase. We call it a wheelbase. So you keep the wheelbase in mind, and the rear part. This part is rear overhang. And the front, this distance is front overhang. You keep these points in mind and make a simple sketch like this, for example. This is the starting point of drawing a side view sketch. So the tires, the relationship between the tires and overhangs, how I usually look at them is how many can fit between, or what's the size of the rear overhang and front overhang. So I don't actually draw these circles, but inside my mind I do this. And usually the diameter of the tire is usually 600 millimeters. But smaller ones are smaller, like 400 millimeters, or like larger cars have, like SUVs have a tire with a diameter of nearly 1 meter. And you draw over it, and you can see how many tires you can put on top of each other. So here you see the height is about 1,200, and then if there are 3 of them, it's about 1,800, and you can calculate the overall height. So in this case, it's 1,650 millimeter. That is the overall height. This is the height from the ground, from the floor. We call it overall height. So that's how I begin my idea sketch. And talking about side view. So you already passed the first selection, so I'm not very much worried about it. Some are good at idea sketches, and some do not have a kind of good foundation of idea sketches. So one point I would like you to keep in mind is like a tension of a line. What I mean by tension of a line is, for example, this. Let's not do this, simply put. So if you draw a line, do this, like in smoothly. And this is the base of the shape of the car. So everything, the momentum or of the car begins with the stroke of the lines that you draw. Straight lines are important, and circles are also important.
So please practice so that you can write circles and lines freely, and next time how you can well draw curves is important. So by practicing this, so you will be able to be a better sketch drawer. So this is the way that we actually proceed with the side views. And then next, from the side view, that's the case. But normally, if you look at a little bit from the side view, it's easier for you to understand the shape of a car. So if you're able to draw a sketch from the little bit side, the front, the Kimo-san coming from South Korea, he's really good at drawing. So I want you to look at his sketches. But for better sketch drawers, it has a momentum of lines, so the forms are detected in 3-dimensional, as the person from TOOLS said. Whether you can realize this into the practice or not, we can make it into 3D. Let me say, in our case, like if I write down in 3/4, at first I actually consider the total forms. And then the positions of the tire will be decided. It's hard to write here, but anyway, the position of the tires will be decided, and then building up to the shape of a car. Like this, I am writing the shape of the car gradually. So this is how I set the total form. It's really important. So from the start, let's say there are lamps over there. There are some opening over there. And here, there was something like this. And you don't have to look only into details. please look at the total form at first. So whatever the objects are the same. So let's consider to draw a smaller car, like a commuter size car. Let's say this is a commuter. And then the first one, if you actually want to draw a rice ball thing, the triangle one, and you put the tires, and then probably new design possibility can be drawn like this, for instance. And then the firstly, what's important here is this is a form, or what's the form that you want to imagine or draw is very important. So while drawing, I'm going to be careful what will be the shape of the center. And then if you look at the side section, what will be the view, don't forget that views in your mind. So let me draw that into a drawing. What would be the shape I should be writing? Let's say this is the shape, let's say. And then this is how I add lines in, as I did earlier, with this kind of thing here. The center, what would be the three-dimensional feature for the center part and also the side. This is the thing that I consider for the three-dimensional, and on this side this is blah blah, and let's say this is the projecting part. And then here this is also projecting part, like this, for instance, and then underneath there's only one tire. So like here, and something like this. On this side are two wheels or two tires on those side. This is okay, but if you forget the total shape, it's not really good because you tend to the lumps like this, and here opening is positioned, and here if you tend to write down details, that shouldn't be the case. Don't to put much attention to the detail at first. So I have this center line there. What it means is when we look at the side view, this is the shape that I was writing. And here, this shape, the silhouette, is something that I draw earlier. This is the shape. So this is how I should be always pay attention to, and I expect you to do so when I write down 3/4. All the time, what I do is like the total form is at first determined, and then adding up to this part like this, and then I was writing like here, like this, and then I am building up the total shape of the car. So all the time it should be three-dimensional. The total shape shouldn't be forgotten all the time. So while drawing, probably three-dimensional shape may be created gradually. And then with this time, each one line is quite rough here, but each one line need to have some momentum, so that this section view shouldn't be forgotten as well. Something like this, if you draw something like this, you have easier time in drawing cars. I think, Kyan-san, would you want to write down something here as well? The perspectives, perspectives part, something that I want you to do something about. Okay. So if you draw something like this, sketch like this is similar, a common sketch. Like these views are quite common, like this. Probably this is something easiest and easy to come up with. This is the kind of views. Common. It means front part and side part are the only shown, so it's easy. So my recommendation is that if you don't have much skills yet, even though you have a lot of ideas, you can draw this kind of the sketches. Like if you, this is the simple sketches that you don't have to pay attention to perspectives, like fenders or something like this, in position and something like this. You know, you can draw while thinking. This is how you can do, and then the point details should be added in the afterwards. But if you can find out any one favorite line, you can overlay another paper on top of it. Overlaying the paper is better, you know, to generate as many ideas as possible. In my case, like overlaying the paper and then starting from the tire again. If you do so, okay, what was the important point I wanted to strengthen? I tend to forget, so I will put another paper on this. This is the line that I'm starting from the second paper, for instance. And then you can see through the first drawing for the phone. So, and then I can have different combination to the standard phone. So this is how I have more ideas so that I can develop a more quality ideas. So if you are starting over from the start, it's okay for you if you want to practice drawing, but if you want to have as many ideas as possible, please do so, do like this. So you have to take different approaches. So if we want to develop as many ideas as possible, the efficient idea generation is important. So this is how I recommend you to do. And then earlier, Mr. Yamashita mentioned logic for the perspectives. This time, there are some people who actually wrote in the grand view, the plan view. The plan view, if you fail to do it, the angle of the tire is a source for the failures. If you consider this kind of cubic from the plan view, this is how you write down the cubic. For the cubic thing, the percentage is a little bit different, but this is the different percentages, rates. But here, if you learn in the art schools to try to remember, there are many people who forgot. If you wrote down oval here on this, this is the line, the perspectives. This is perspectives, and then all the time it's 90 degrees. This is how you write down the oval. So what it happens is that you actually wrote down like this, and here you tend to like draw like this. Not that wouldn't be a case. This is the angle, and there should be 90 degrees. The peak is here. The peak for the oval is there, not there. Here you can touch upon that, but not that. What's different is that plan view. If you wrote down a car, the right angle for the tire is like this. This is the right angle for the tire. Center line is something like this. The fender is something like this. And this is how it should be the case. Here, right? However, the angle of the tire, if you wrote down something like this, sounds unnatural. So the angle of the tire. Actually, there are many people who draw something like this vertically, you can know here it's strange, right? The tires, something like it's going up right here. But it looks so strange. So all the time, the rules here is 90 degree is the rule that you have to draw tires, and also how tires will be flattened. So please try to draw a cubic features all the time. Like this is only a surface that you can see for the top side. If this is the cubic, that you can only see this kind of the area for the upper surface. This is the size. However, if you are able to look at this kind of the area for the top side, this is something like this. So just to practice, this is the size of the circle. If you practice this all the time, and then the top view, if you want to draw a car with a lot of top roof view, you can naturally write it down. So basic drawing practice is really important, like sports. Basic practice is really important, like you do sports. The simple cubic feature, something that you try to draw all the time. And then you can imagine how it should be the case if you have to write down so suddenly. It's equipped with you. So this is how I going to practice. So idea sketch wise, it's okay to draw this only one approach, but you try to review whether your drawings were correctly written or not. So practice a lot. Okay? That was a mini lecture that we provided. So this is a really good case that I can utilize here. Let's say this is a tire. And then earlier I said this is the important. This is the 90 degree. So let's consider this is the kind of cylinder. And then the cylinder cutting side of the cylinder should be the 90 degree. And that as well, if you put like a cylinder over there, it's a 90 degree centigrade, so it wouldn't be such shape there. So you shouldn't be cutting slantingly. So please cut down 90 degree at an angle. If you don't mistake it, if you have the better drawing around surrounding the tire, you can have better circle. So that's how we have provided a kind of a sketch basic lecture. But these basics are important. If you have any good ideas, unless you do a basics things better, it would be good. So any questions?
So far, so good. Are you good? I will finish my lecture. As Mr. Kyan mentioned, which I really liked. So the eye level that you see the vehicle, you have to really fix the right eye level. This is your eye position, and this is the vehicle. And you're looking at the low portion in the car, or you look from above the car, or from the bottom, or maybe at the right height. So you need to determine where you are positioned in relative to the car. If you know where your eyes are, maybe the lower portion, the second highest, lowest position is maybe the better eye position. As you draw the car shape, it looks like that. So you cannot see the top level. You cannot see. You don't have to draw. Therefore, it's quite easy for anyone to draw. If you look from above, I don't like that. I don't draw that. If I really want to express some features, uniqueness, by looking the car from above, I would draw, but I wouldn't normally draw a view from the top. But most of the people draw try to look above, the car from above. It's hard to do that, but if you want to really express your ideas, maybe the eye point is very important, where you fix your eye point to draw a vehicle. So this is my mini lecture, and I'd like to end my lecture now. Thank you very much for your hard work. It was a well job done. Thank you very much for your participation today. It's a long day. So this is the first workshop we have provided. Before you gathered here, what you might wonder what you are going to do today here. But maybe workshop was in line with your ideas or not, I don't know. But me, myself, and Mr. Kian, and also all the participants today, sponsor enterprises as well. We all support students for future. We would like to give power to the students. That's our mission for today. So in that sense, including us, please understand all the society is on your side. We are supporting you. If you feel this support, I am very happy. And today, we have professors and students from the Tokyo University because, like Mr. Kian's enterprise, from now on, to learn a subject is not only the face-to-face learning, but through internet, virtual learning is going to be very important in future, and it will be the norm in future. So this EV design contest, the uniqueness is that in the internet world, you can share your ideas and concepts and exchange opinions each other. So this is a comprehensive connection of all the people in the internet world. So this is the shape and the form that we are going to take in future. So some people are participating in the internet, and also some are not. So this is going to be our future. So that if you have some interaction in the internet, maybe it's better that you come here to have a face-to-face experience too. In the NHK broadcasting the news program, in the United States universities, the best 3 top-ranking universities, things are changing among these top 3 universities in the United States, which is that the Harvard University does not get the top 1 ranking, but the university who provides the opportunity and the venue to exchange students of international level to exchange opinions, and also the lecture can be provided to all the people around the world who do not have to come to the United States. This kind of e-learning will progress in future. So the universities which takes initiative in the e-learning flourish, just like the Tokyo University. So from now on, this is going to be our endeavor, and we may ask your support, but please participate in this e-learning as well. Today, I had a lot of discussions with you, and among you maybe think that you have to change your plan, maybe. But maybe you may think that you have to expand your horizon and scope, maybe optimize, maybe make it more simple. So maybe you may have think that way. This is our comment that I gave you today. And how do you take this comment is up to you. You have a free will. It's very important. Of course, you hear a lot of opinions and comments because as you go along to be a designer, and also if you propose an idea in college, maybe professor may have a different opinion from yours, and professor has a lot of opinions. But it's up to you how you interpret the comment by your professor and how you take away from it. That's very important. You have to train yourself to incorporate these opinions into your knowledge. Are you the college senior or junior, maybe graduate students here today? But in future, as you go to the business world, and if you, I believe you are going to be the leader in the design world. And there is huge expectations on you to create a new image of a designer, not only the styling, but also connection to the world and society, and also contribute to a sustainable society with innovative technologies. These are the scope that you have to really watch. And I want you to become this really encompassing designer in future. So today we have 23 teams which cleared the first round. But today, some canceled their trip today. We have only 10 teams here, and 13 teams did not make it here today. So what we did today, we will stream in the video. So if you please watch the video to try to improve your ideas, maybe the competition will be more fierce. Overall, only 17 will clear the second screening out of 23. Maybe 30% of the team will win the final screening. So please do your effort, do your best to be the final team to be able to participate in the second workshop. I really hope you will come to the second workshop. We did our best effort, but maybe short of your expectation. However, with the bosses, this support, and also these supporters' support, please give a big hand to boss, because they are a great supporter for us. And also these interpreters and also these camera crews, please give them a big hand. So far, up to now, we have been very friendly to each other, but from now on, we are going to enjoy the beverages and food on the table. So please relax yourself to enjoy this atmosphere where you can freely exchange your opinions. And also, I would like to invite staff from the boss to address a remark. Thank you very much for your participation. I'm Kobayashi, belonging to Bosch. Today, this is my first time to participate in this competition as a Bosch staff member. But Mr. Yamashita's drawing and Kansan's drawing sketch was very inspiring to me, and I learned a lot from here. So So I want this to be memorable for you, that you will never forget today's event. And also Bosch Cafe, I want you to remember Bosch Cafe today. Thank you very much for your participation and good job. Thank you very much. So, lastly, he is a famous person in our circle, and also he may be critical to your proposal. Mr. Ruscio, he's a journalist, and I want him to introduce himself and give you a word. I can never finish a short my message. Out of the blue, I'm here to introduce myself. I'm a free writer. I'm Musho. I myself, when I was a student, I was doing the rendering, drawing a sketch to subtract clay. I wanted to become a car designer and stylist, but I turned to be a writer. 25 years ago, I was a student doing the same thing as you. But now, I write response in the internet media, and also I write some columns in the car magazines and illustrate the magazine as well. I saw your presentations today, and through a discussion with you, I want to give you two or three opinions as an opinion of an outsider. Number one, so to hear one thing and you learn 10. Have you heard this proverb of Japanese? If you listen one thing, you learn 10 stuff. This is taken from Chinese proverb. Your counterpart say one thing, you read between the lines, and also you have to understand 10 factors behind this one word. So in the design world, we have to go reverse. In the presentation, if you want to deliver 10 messages, and you try to deliver 10 messages, but only one message gets delivered to your audience, you can deliver only one message out of the 10 messages. You have to really narrow down to a few points if you want to really communicate your message to the audience. And also the most important message, you have to pick up one most important message. And after that, you have to think about how you present it to your audience. So in the discussion, I spoke with some of the students. Just like that, in the design work, you come up with 100 ideas, but discard 90 ideas out of 100. You come up with a lot of ideas. You want to do this, you want to do that, you want to express this, many things. But out of that, 90% should be discarded. This 10% is the most important message maybe you want to deliver to your audience. So when I heard your presentations, as Yamashita-san mentioned, your message was kind of diluted sometimes, and I didn't get the point in the presentation. Some presentation, I didn't know the message very clearly. And as I saw your sketches and everything, your first inspiration was the trigger point for you to make a presentation. So your first idea is very clear and pure, but you have to refine and polish it to enhance your ideas, to come up with a complete presentation. So as I say, 100 ideas, you have to discard 90. But as I see, I'm saying that you have to pick up a lot of possibilities and ideas, and also you have to narrow down to a very important point, and you have to refresh, and also you have to really optimize it.
That's how you can make your ideas more convincing. This is not only applied to design, but I write articles, so this like a principle applies also to writing. So people say like my job is easy, but if I have an order to write a 1,000 letter article, like I write 3,000 letters and discard 2,000 to make this 1,000 character text, and then I have my recycle bin inside my head. So as I discard many ideas, you don't just throw them away. You keep them inside your recycle bin in your head, and then later, maybe you can use one of those ideas that you threw away earlier. So I see you take lots of notes today. So those notes are not just for today. So I encourage you to keep the notes so that you can look back on those notes later on to get some inspiration. So it's vehicles. I think your ideas can be commonly used for different types of transportation means. And that is a part of a larger kind of concept of product design. I think there are some fundamental ideas, and you may be able to find new applications of the ideas that you came up this time. So you might have received some harsh comments today from some instructors, but some of those ideas will be used at some later point of time. So you might feel kind of frustrated when you got the kind of critical comments from the adults or the experts, and then you just say, okay, I understand on the surface, and then inside, you feel that you will use your ideas sometimes later. Sorry, it was a long comment. Thank you very much for your attention. And then another person, Mr. Yamamoto from the University of Tokyo. I would like to ask him to say a few words. Thank you very much, everyone. So Mr. Yamashita already gave a comment about SNS or making network or learning from each other through SNS. So we, as scholars, write thesis, and then sometimes we get the critical comments, and then I feel really down when I get the critical comments, but I overcome those critical comments, and then I can create something better. So, and also about SNS, I think you already registered yourself. You have already registered yourself to SNS. I would like you to continue communication. So previously, the communication was within the groups, but now we have created knowledge group, covering more people. So we have already uploaded some video of lectures by experts. And going forward, if you find a good website or the video of today's workshop, those contents will be uploaded. And rather than using those contents yourself alone, I encourage you to share those contents among yourself. And we're going to have some socializing party, so it's a nice, good opportunity to have a face-to-face physical interaction. So I encourage you to exchange ideas, or just a casual chat is just fine. I hope that you have a good communication. Thank you very much for your participation today. Thank you very much. It was very good that we heard lots of good comments. And one thing from the secretariat. Like there are some materials left, like brochures and so on, or portfolios. So I encourage you to take back those brochures or materials and then share them with your friends and so on. With that, I would like to close today's workshop. Thank you very much for your participation today.